That's not the plan. What was the first Ozone Awards like? And what year was it?
2006.
Okay, so this is 4 years after the magazine launches in Orlando. Okay.
Yeah. I just remember that honestly, there's so much I don't remember from those weekends because I literally did not sleep. Like the Ozone Awards, definitely in Orlando and definitely in Houston, I'm talking like 4 days without sleep. You start to hallucinate things. Like when I woke up the morning after, I remember looking around the room and seeing like wristbands and stuff. And I really thought it had been a dream. I was like, that we didn't actually
like
that
tomorrow,
didn't actually happen yet. That was a crazy day. I mean, I gotta say that David Banner really saved that show because he was the host.
Legend.
And I was in like it was just so much that happened that weekend because it wasn't just the awards. We did a 4-day, or maybe it was 3 days at that time. We teamed up with TJ's DJs, which was
shout out to TJ Chapman.
Shout out to TJ. And I couldn't have pulled that off without him. I mean, he had a lot more in terms of structure, and he had staff and volunteer. I've always been, for better or worse, like I do everything myself. I'm not really great at delegating stuff.
TJ's from Tallahassee too, right?
He's from Tallahassee, yeah. And that first weekend, like we had paid for this whole hotel, and they told us back then, like, oh, well, we're going to be doing some renovations or whatever, but it'll be done by the time your event comes around. They literally brought a bulldozer in the lobby of the hotel 3 days before the Ozone Awards, and the whole lobby was gone. Like they took out the escalator. It was dirt.
Jesus.
And so I get a call from one of our staff like 3 days before the awards. I think you should come see the hotel where we're having our event in 3 days. It was just so much that went wrong that weekend to the point where by the time the awards come around, I'm like, how are we going to pull this off? You know, and I'm like, it was just so much going on. Back then I had a BlackBerry, and like, you know, the messages were coming in so fast. I was getting, like the next day I got a message from Ludacris manager, like, we're at the airport, where is the car? Like I'm getting messages from the day before. Like that's how crazy it was. And
who performed the first year?
Literally everybody.
Everybody.
I remember being backstage, and all the pictures from that night. It's funny because I'm in like a white T-shirt because I never even had time to like change in anything, and I hadn't slept, so I'm just like all over the place. But I was kind of freaking out backstage. Like then the guy who was supposed to prepare our video packages, like the nominees are
right.
He kept assuring me like, oh yeah, it's great, it's coming along. He just disappeared. So we had no video presentation. So I'm freaking out like the day of the event, and Banner was the host, and he kind of like grabbed me and corralled me like in a corner somewhere, and he was just like, you got to get it together, because if you look like everything's fine, people are going to think everything's fine. If you look like everything's fucked up, people are going to be like, what am I doing here? So I, held it together. He hosted it with, and Trina as well. David Banner and Trina hosted the first show. So I had asked Khaled to do the opening set. So Khaled brought, everybody, Rick Ross did Hustlin'. Actually, Plies opened the show. And nobody in the industry knew who Plies was. But he was like the hottest thing in the streets in Florida. Like he had just dropped.
Plies from Fort Myers, right?
He is from Fort Myers, yeah. And I remember like Pimp C asking me about him after the show, like, yo, can I get his mixtape? Can I get his number? So we helped him out a lot with that. That was like a big look for him.
Wow.
So Plies performed, Rick Ross, Cool and Dre came out, Trick Daddy, Pitbull, T-Pain, and then we had like Young Jock, Pimp C and Bun B for the first time since Pimpa got out. Jeezy came out on stage with them. Honestly, Wayne was supposed to be the headliner. Like Wayne performed last, but people thought it was over after Pimp and Bun. They were like, we can't top that.
You can't top UGK.
Ludacris performed. I think he was filming. I think it's on his MTV Diary.
Wow, I was gonna say that's like peak Luda. That's like Luda.
We had. I got texts afterwards. I think. Bun was there, but I think Lil Jon didn't make the show, but he was texting me afterwards, and like Bun was texting me like, I can't believe you. Or no, Bun got up and accepted their award, and he was like, honestly, I didn't know if I was gonna come to this thing. Basically, like I thought it was gonna be just some.
I'm glad we came.
It was hood, like it wasn't polished at all. But he was like, this is for the South. Like I'm glad we came, and people were texting me like, you like to get a text from Lil Jon like, wow, I heard that what you pulled off was amazing. Like that. Like I can't really top that. So that was a crazy time. And
How many award shows did you guys do?
3.
3 of them. And then, so kind of take me to what ends
and
up.
I learned that I hated organizing events.
Yeah, live events are tough, especially with so many It's different to do like a concert and there's one guy performing, but the variables that are involved in pulling together travel,
I had
hotel.
no idea that when they do the BET Awards and they do the Source Awards, they have production companies that do this for.
And
a
you were the
living.
production company.
I was the production company, and I would never put myself through that.
Oh, I can imagine.
But it was some good times.
Because you're talking to all the managers.
Miami, I had Wayne on this phone, management arguing with the security, didn't want to let him in with his bags or whatever. I had Jeezy here with 100. I need 100 tickets because he's beefing with Pimp C. It was just.
I forgot about the Jeezy Pimp C thing. I remember that. Wow.
Pimp C did not come to the Ozone Awards because of that. Somebody wise talked him out of coming because he was texting me like, "You're gonna have blood on the floor," and it was. I did write about it in the book, but I'm glad that.
It's right here.
I'm glad that was resolved with no bloodshed. But yes,
Well,
my 700-page book on Pimp C does touch on these fun times at the Ozone Awards.
I was going to ask you, what was, because we know about the legendary Source Award drama and, I mean, BT Award drama, and was there ever anything that popped off?
Oh yeah.
What was
not to the Source Awards level, but that first year when we had all the Miami artists or all the Florida artists perform, Trick was the final performance, and I think there was something, I don't know, something with him and Ross or whatever, but he ended his set like there's only one mayor in Miami and y'all are my proteges or whatever, and he threw the mic down. And so they had like a little something backstage or whatever.
Ross has had some somethings backstage with a few people.
Yeah.
So was that the worst that it ever got, where there was like an altercation? Because look, when you have everyone under the same roof, and it's like you said, you're the production company, so this is not like MTV, and there's like you're handling everything. So like,
well, Houston was the craziest. We had the fire marshal trying to shut us down, and the riot police, like they had them lined up outside.
Who was attending at the same time where you were most worried about with Houston?
Well, I wouldn't say that I was worried. It was just a lot going on. But Trey punched Mike Jones. I didn't actually see it. And
Trey the Truth punched Mike Jones at the Ozone Awards?
And then Mike still came up. I mean, to his credit, Mike still came up and did whatever presentation he was supposed to do with the little Band-Aid or whatever in his face. So I don't really know what that was about. I'm not sure what they were.
That's a professional.
I'm not sure what the issue was, but I respect him for that, you know?